Hi, Mark Thomas from Trade on Track here. We've been talking about fractals and their use with trailing stops. I'd like to just also cover how they can be used for drawing trend lines. Casey may have already covered trend line drawing with you, but this is another look at it, another refresher if you like, in the context of using them with fractals. We'll look at a Euro-US chart here. This is a 1 hour chart. You can see the price has been sort of moving up fairly well here to a top, down, and then it's just formed another top. So we've got a double top, so we could expect a rejection or a breakthrough. But so at this point, we will zoom down to a smaller time frame. We're on a 1 hour time frame at the moment, and at this point where it's just starting to bounce off from the double top, it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we'll go down to a 15-minute chart. We're going to use fractals to draw trend lines to determine where a break might occur, so we can tell whether it's going to break up past the double top or come back down significantly. So we're at the point where it's about 1 o'clock, just where it's come off the double top. And the way we draw trend lines using fractals is we pick a fractal point. And if you remember, a fractal is a top that has two lower highs on either side. So this is definitely one here. So you start from the right hand side and work backwards. We're drawing our upper trend line at the moment, and what you need to do is find a higher point or a higher fractal. Now this is about level. That's our double top. If we were to go back any further, we're sort of off the chart, so I'll just stick with this one at the moment. You probably should look back a bit further, but this will be fine for our purposes. So we have an upper trend line. So we're assuming we're at this point. Okay. Now we'll also draw a lower trend line. So what we do is find our last fractal. Let's say we're back a little bit further. Back about there. So draw another trend line from our last bottom fractal, which would be here, and we look for the fractal before that was lower than that point, which would be this point right here. And if you extend that line out, you can see it sort of lines up with this other fractal as well, so we know we've got a pretty good trend line drawn there. So that's pretty much how you draw trend lines. For the top trend line, pick a fractal top, go back to the left, find the next highest fractal top and draw a line. For the lower trend line, pick a fractal bottom, go left, find the next lower fractal bottom, and that's your line. Okay, so what you then look for is a break of one of those lines, which can give you an idea of where price may be heading. Now, we can see right here we've got a breakthrough, and it's a good idea to actually wait for price or for a bar to close rather than just a line break. So we can see the close of this bar is right here, which is through that trend line. So at this point we could go short. We could we've got a fair indication that it's bouncing off this double top, and it's broken the 15-minute trend line, so it looks like it may be heading down. So we could get in there, and our stop could be set above this other trend line. Now continuing on, we'll move the chart to the right a little bit. The idea is to keep moving your trend lines as you get new fractals. Okay, so we've got a couple of new fractals here. Let's remove these trend lines. So I'll draw our upper trend line again from the last piece of information that we have, and that would be, this is a new fractal high there, and the one before that, it's not that one because I've only got one lower bar, so it's not a true fractal. It would be this point here. It's got two lower highs on either side of that candle. Okay, so that's our upper trend line, our lower trend line. This is a fractal right here because it has two higher lows on either side of the candle. So there, and we go left and we find our next lowest fractal, which would be here, and whammo, we've got another bar that closes below the lower trend line, so price appears to be still moving down rather than breaking through this upper trend line. So it looks like our bear run is still good. We'll keep moving on here. We've got a couple of new fractal points. Remove that. Remove that one. So this one is slightly different. It hasn't moved too much, but it's enough to redraw it. So we've got a fractal there, up to the next highest fractal to the left of it, which is there, and you can see extended through that comes to there. So that's a reasonable trend line. And drawing our lower trend line, we've got a low fractal there, and moving to the left, the next lowest fractal would be this point right there. So we have our trend lines drawn. What you can do with a trailing stop is just keep your stop, if we're in a short trade, keep your stop following the trend line, the upper trend line down, just on this, the higher side of the trend line, and maybe 6 or 7 pips above it if you're trading a 15-minute chart. So in this case, this broke through at 1.4920 and it went up to 1.4926. So that's a 6 pip break through that trend line. So yeah, maybe a 7 pip buffer would have kept that safe. Once again, we've got a break through the bottom trend line here. So it appears to be still breaking lower. But we've also got a break through the top straight after it. So you can see we've got a triangle forming. So it may be that we're coming to a breakout. We've got a bit of a trend down, but it's forming a triangle, so it's going to break out one way or the other. We just have to sort of wait and see which way price will go. And that's pretty much where we're at right now. I wouldn't like to trade either way on this one because it's breaking out equally either side of those trend lines. So probably wait until the New York session kicks in, and then it'll take a nice breakout either way. But that's a quick rundown on how you can draw trend lines using fractal points. Thank you.